there's two rounds of bidding, but it starts with an RFI, which doesn't go to the RFP necessarily. And the RFI is a request for information. So what they do is they ask, the market, who
Who's
understands
asking?
the U.S. Marshal Service is in charge
Marshal Service. Okay.
of the RFI and RFP. So the way it works, let me get back up even further. And we're just talking about federal. We're not talking about states, which adds another layer of complexity. On the federal side, you have the U.S. Marshal and you have the DOJ. And then underneath that, you have all these agencies that kind of kick up to either the Marshal or DOJ, whether that's FBI or CIA or ATF kicking up to DOJ. On the other side, it could be the Secret Service and IRS criminal investigators who did the Silk Road confiscation. That kicks up to the marshal. The marshal's job historically with other assets has been to do the request for proposal where they go out to different bidders to handle the assets for them. So it's a public-private relationship. That's the process you go through. It's very kind of stringent, the way you kind of approach it and the way you present. And, you have to cover how are you going to custody these assets? How are you going to liquidate these assets? How are you going to protect these assets? Where are the security layers? And, Coinbase won class one, which is all the big cap assets.
In this, do you have some kind of liability if you fail at this?
Well, I think everyone has liability if they fail at it at a certain level, but do you mean personal liability or business liability?
Well, so I'm just saying, like say you're going to custody a bunch of Bitcoin and then it gets stolen from you.
Probably wouldn't be us custodying it. It'd be a qualified custodian. And, right now with digital currencies, there's not a lot of insurance recourse at that scale. There's not a lot of people that are going to insure $20 billion of Bitcoin. That's why they take their time being thoughtful about what those security protocols are. And, they really look for that kind of underlying technology, SOC 1, SOC 2, all of the stuff that is required to win one of those proposals. So the problem is, when we get into the first problem is, the government, U.S. Marshal in particular, is used to doing things a certain way, and they're reliant upon their subs that they work with. And those subs may or may not be qualified, but because they understand the process and processes, which are really complicated, they'll award to subs. So someone could actually win those contracts that doesn't have the first understanding of the asset class itself, but they have the understanding of the process to win.